Why can't Sandy just,
Okay.
why can't Sandy just use mutual aid as a standalone fire department?
Gee, I just want to, I'll add something on that. I wanted to bring that back up anyway. When you talk about depth,
Yeah,
when I looked at, I had that question before, why don't we just ask for some money or go out for a bond?
yeah,
The thing of it is for 22 cents, I probably wouldn't even be able to get that rescue up and running. But it'd probably be more like 50 cents a thousand. But what I looked at is all that would ever get us is buy us some time and get us another unit. But when you look at the big picture and, if we get 10 calls right now, we're gonna get 10 apparatus. I mean, we're just gonna keep getting apparatus from Clackamas Fire. And that was one thing I had to really look at is, yeah, it'd be good for the 1 and 2 calls, but we still don't get the structure fire or the rope rescues and all of the wildland calls. You just do not have the depth. So it's super important to make people aware of that and why we didn't look at that direction.
thanks, Philly.
So the mutual aid,
Yeah, mutual aid question,
can I take that one?
please.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not a firefighter. You would think with this physique that I would be, but I'm not. Okay. But what I've noticed for not being one is before, and it wasn't a bad model, but Sandy Fire would run out to, let's say, a fire. And it was, okay, it's a gold grass fire, they take care of it, whatever, we need help. And then they would call them for mutual aid. All right, and then if it got worse than that, they call in for more mutual aid. Now, that's not saying anybody would be there or not, or could be tied up. Now we moved over to the model with Clackamas Fire District. When the word fire comes in, going to your house, your residence, whatever, you're getting 25 people, they're rolling. They're not waiting for somebody to tell them it's not bad or come on. They're rolling to your location. And what they found is it's a lot easier when they get there and find out that it's a oven fire or something like that to say turn around and go back, but they're on their way. And with mutual aid, one is you don't know what they're doing. Clackamas Fire District is big enough that they're moving the pieces all around to make sure those 25 are there in almost all cases.
yeah, thank you for that. And I think a good piece with this to add to Ron, Steve, is walk through, because I think the community members, and I think a lot of people misunderstand mutual aid versus automatic aid.
Sure.
And I think that there's a big piece to this question, but would you take on anything else that Ron left out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big misconception about mutual aid is that you call and they come. Mutual aid is if they're there and they're available, and then they can still say no. They can say, we're not gonna send another unit, we're busy, we don't want to, whatever that case may be. In the contract and with all the depth of Clackamas Fire, it's now automatic aid, like Ron had said. The dispatch contains the effective response force. And not only for house fires, but cardiac arrest, car wrecks, rescues, things like that, complicated pin-in car wrecks, things like that. It's just automatic. It's built into the run card as we call it. Calls a run card for us, and it just comes. It's automatic, not mutual. Not to say we don't use mutual aid from time to time. Sometimes it's better to use a little bit of mutual aid that's closer, but it's in addition to the automatic aid that's coming.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's a good point to recognize that the mutual aid are statewide agreements, county agreements, but it's nothing that requires outside agencies to respond to. It's just if they're available, they can respond at their choice. Is there any follow-up with that, or is there any?